Hey everybody, how are you today? Jim Prusek of the Pain PT. Hope you guys are doing well. And today we're going to highlight again the importance of your beliefs, expectations, and perceptions of your symptoms. What are your beliefs? What are your perceptions? What are your expectations of the symptoms in your body? Really important, and something I've just highlighted in our group class as well, because this is what Dr. Sarno talked about in a lot of his books and his assessments of people. Was he was looking to rule out a structural issue and get to a place where he could diagnose the person with TMS. If you haven't heard of that, tension myositis syndrome, get hold of one of Dr. Sarno's books if this is new to you. And essentially, TMS is a mind-body syndrome caused by your brain and central nervous system, where the brain produces stress signals that travel through your autonomic nervous system from your limbic brain and create symptoms in your body. Physical symptoms, very real physical symptoms, same or even worse than structural symptoms. And when he made the diagnosis that, look, you have TMS, you don't have, herniated disc is not causing this. You don't have any bowel obstruction. You don't have something wrong in your head with your migraine or your neck or your stomach with IBS, chronic fatigue, whatever it might be, that you're fine. You are absolutely fine. And what you're feeling is harmless, what I would call benign. And what I like to say is you're fine and benign. So when you're fine and benign, it means that there's nothing wrong. When people took this diagnosis in and they accepted the diagnosis, a large amount of them, not everybody, because there's more work that we talked about with the emotions, but a large percentage of people got better. They felt better. Why? Why did they feel better? Well, I'm going to explain to you today why. Because in your brain, you have neural pathways that come from the cognitive centers of the brain, prefrontal cortex and other areas, cortical brain, that go directly down into your body and also connect and wire up to the limbic brain. And they're what's called inhibitory pathways, inhibition. In the same light, you have excitatory pathways. Excitatory meaning sensitized, bigger, larger reactions. So the inhibitory pathways get activated when you feel more safe, you feel more relaxed, you feel good, you feel positive about something. So you can imagine if somebody had been believing and perceiving and thinking, that's it, my life's over, I have this chronic pain or chronic symptom, it's not going away, something must be wrong with me, nobody can find out what's wrong. Then they saw Dr. Sarno and he said, no, there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. What you have is an issue from your brain, mind-body syndrome. You're absolutely fine. There's nothing to worry about. This is fine. So you can imagine what happens to some people in the brain. There is an absolute shift in the neural circuitry. It's an absolute shift in the signaling. So it turns on that inhibitory pathway, which another name for that is called the placebo pathway. It's very real in the brain. We've seen it through numerous studies. Activated that neural pathway, which caused inhibition of the pain or the symptom. And I hear these stories, pretty often. Not everybody, but there's a number of people who have gotten better just through, as Dr. Sarno says, knowledge. Knowledge is the cure. What is a foundation for healing? It's a foundation. Knowledge is a cortical, cognitive, mental construct or piece of the puzzle that we need to work on, that I teach as well, that you're fine. You're okay. You believe that. You believe that in the deepest level possible, that you're fine, you're okay, you're safe, your symptoms are absolutely fine and benign. They're harmless. Now, if you don't believe that, or you doubt that, or you're not sure, or you're wavering, or you think it's physical, even though it's not. Just know that that could be a piece of your puzzle keeping you stuck. Why? Well, because it's activating those excitatory pathways in the brain and negatively reinforcing the symptom. Okay, so we have to shift. You got to shift this brain, its belief centers, perception centers, and expectation centers that you're fine. You're 100% fine. You're 100% okay. There is nothing wrong in your body. There is absolutely nothing wrong in your body when you have a diagnosis of TMS, what I call BS, brain sensitization, brain sensations, what we call mind-body syndrome. So when you get that diagnosis, whether it's someone like me diagnosing with you, going through your history and seeing what makes sense, or you get that from a TMS physician or somebody else, or the doctors can't find anything wrong, and you've been struggling with this for a long time, and you know you have a history of some adverse childhood events or stressors, you don't deal with your emotions so good, or you get anxious easily, rest. Well, there's a more than good chance you have TMS. You have this BS. And again, the great news is that there's nothing wrong with your body. Now, if you believe that, if you believe 100% in your heart, in your brain, really, at a deep, deep level that you're okay, what will you do? I posed this question to my group. What would you do? How would you act? How would you move forward? How would you approach your symptoms? Now, mentally, right? You might approach them differently than what you are right now. And this is the point I'm trying to make. And I see this over and over and over again. And we see this in doctor visits too. You go to the doctor. I love this example. You go in, you got a complaint. You're feeling something in your body. You're shoot, what is this? I'm not sure. Oh my gosh. I hope I didn't hurt something. Hope something's not wrong with me. Hope, nothing's damaged, nothing's bad. You go in and he says, look, I don't see anything. No broken bones, no injured ligaments, no torn muscles. Yeah, you got a little inflammation. Okay, you got a sprain. It's small. It's nothing. It's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. It's going to fade out. It's going to go away. Give it a little time. Now, you would leave that office, right, feeling differently. Your attitude would be completely different towards your symptom, wouldn't it? It would be, right? You would not be thinking, worrying, wondering about that symptom, babying yourself. You would have pain. You would still have a symptom, whatever it is. Because it's going to be there for a little while. Don't worry, it'll just fade away. But you would move forward each day with less focus on it, which means no hypervigilance, less worry about it. It's still there. It's somewhere in the back of your head. But your belief is that, nah, it's fine. It's totally fine. It's going to go away. Your expectation is that it's going to go away too. And sure enough, over a period of time, it does. Now, the only difference here with that and your condition is there's a couple things. But the big one now is that this has become chronic. Okay, that's one thing, meaning it's got a lot of neural pathway strength. It's not like a small little thing that's going to just go away. It's not a physical injury either. That's the second thing. It's not a physical injury that just heals on its own if you let it. This is a brain central nervous system condition, which means more importantly than ever, we need to change the brain. We need to change our thinking, perception, expectation as one of our approaches to this, which means we need to start thinking differently about it and really come from the strongest possible belief and perception and expectation that we are 100% fine and this is benign, fine and benign. And if you really can come from that every day, that starts to activate those inhibitory pathways I just spoke of in your brain to your body, instead of the excitatory pathways that keep this going. Now, remember, another thing I mentioned to the group was that people do this all the time. I see this happen weekly when I talk to people. Oh, Jim, you know what? I got this other new symptom that came up. my body. It's something different. It was like this weird symptom in my face, or I got a knee pain, or back was starting to hurt me, or I felt like stomach was acting up. But you know what? I realized that was just TMS. That was nothing. I knew I didn't do anything wrong. I knew that was nothing. That was just my mind, my brain. And I just said, whatever. I dismissed it. I just carried on. I didn't stop walking. The knee hurt. I kept eating normally. You know what? It went away. It went away pretty quick, actually. And you know what? That's what we're talking about. The only difference here is that your chronic condition has a lot more neural pathway strength to it. It's got a lot more history behind it. It's got a lot more negativity in it. It's got a lot more power in it. You've had it for a long time. It's not like a little fly in your shoulder. You just flip it off. This is a huge fly. This is a huge thing on your shoulder weighing you down. And you can't just flick it away. What you have to do each day, each moment, each time your brain connects with your symptom is to be believing and thinking and perceiving that's fine and expecting to go away. Over and over and over again, over a period of time, days, weeks, probably months for some of you if it's been really a long period of time. It's possible it takes that long. In combination with emotional work and in combination with behavioral approaches, so getting back to things that we've been avoiding. Okay, but this starts from the foundation. The knowledge is the foundation, like Sarno said, you're fine. You need to come from this every day, whether your symptoms are 10 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 1 out of 10, wherever it is, whatever it is, however long you've had it. If you're not coming from this perception, belief, and expectation that it's fine, you're likely reinforcing in a negative way. You're contributing to that symptom still. And I'll pose you the question, if you knew you were fine 100%, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your body, what would you do? What would you do today differently? What would you do tomorrow differently? How would you approach your day differently? Now, maybe you would go do more things. Maybe you get more active. Maybe you'll get back to exercise or walking or something else, right? You would do that. If you knew you were fine, you believed it 100%, why wouldn't you? Even though the symptom's there. Because again, you need to keep showing, telling, proving, and believing that you're fine. You got to show it to the brain, teach it to the brain that's scared, feels unsafe, upset, worried, sensitized, conditioned, right? So there's a lot we got to break down for these long-standing symptoms. Again, we got to look at emotions too. But today we're highlighting the beliefs, the expectations, the perceptions that I need you to bring this to the table from real evidence, not from I believe in God or I believe in the sky's blue or something. You're believing this because of the evidence you have before you from your physicians and doctors who've checked you out, from what we understand about the neuroscience here, from these conditions. And if you have questions about yourself, then I really recommend you get assessed or checked out. You can reach out to me, do an assessment so you can get clear on this, reach out to a TMS doctor or physician, because the foundation you need to build of your house has to be a foundation that what you're dealing with is not what you think it is. In fact, it's nothing. It's nothing bad. It's real, it's there, and it can be quite strong. But you have to understand there's nothing harmful happening. There's nothing wrong with your body. Absolutely nothing. So we need to use our body in the most normal way possible. We need to gradually work back or go back to everything. Because there's nothing wrong, right? You don't have to stop. And you don't have to even wait for it to heal in the way like an ankle sprain or a back sprain might need to heal, and you go back slowly. Now, the only reason you go back slowly here is because of the reactions you get. The brain reactions that can be quite strong for people and they can't handle them. And they start thinking, oh no, I did too much. And they get negative again. But theoretically, you can go back to anything and everything right now. As long as you keep going, as long as you stay the course and you believe 100%, go all the way through without a shadow of a doubt that you're fine, there's a greater than good chance you're going to get out of this because you're teaching the brain that you're fine. And again, in some cases, we need to work on emotions because that's a premise of this underlying issue. But as Dr. Sarno said, there were a large number of people who just shifted their beliefs and expectations and perceptions around what they were dealing with in their body, around their condition. It switched from thinking, oh no, something's really wrong with me, to, oh my God, I'm completely fine. I can't believe this. There's nothing wrong with me. And again, that shift in the brain, very real, activated inhibitory pathways, boom, symptom goes down, gives them confidence, go back more, going in the right direction, goes away. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here, is to use that power of the neural pathways that exist in you and everybody else, all of us, to our advantage. So reach out if you have questions, you want, looking for an assessment, don't quite believe yet that this is what you have. I think it's really important to be able to shift into that. It's one of the key cornerstones or foundations for your healing. Okay, take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.